What would you do if Michael Jackson suddenly appeared behind you in a dark movie theater dressed like a real-life ninja and softly said, "Hey"? Would you stay cool and calm, or would your heart stop, your legs go weak, and you completely forget how to speak, just like Chris Tucker did? From secret phone calls that left Zac Efron, one of the biggest young stars in Hollywood, crying like a little kid who finally met his hero, to Angela Bofill nearly fainting on stage after a single surprise kiss on the cheek from the king of pop. Even the toughest, most famous legends in the world turned into nervous, starstruck fans the second Michael entered the room. Don't feel embarrassed if you think you'd faint or freeze up, because some of the biggest names in entertainment did exactly that. Why did the biggest celebrities in the world completely lose control? What hidden, chaotic, hilarious, and deeply touching moments happened at Neverland, on private jets, and behind closed doors that made grown superstars forget how to breathe? The answers are stranger, funnier, and more emotional than you could ever imagine. Stay with me, because once you step into Michael's world, there's no turning back. Chapter 1. The Ninja Surprise and Movie Theater Chaos. Chris Tucker's Stories. Nobody knows how to act around Michael Jackson, and Chris Tucker, the fast-talking comedy star from Rush Hour, learned this truth better than almost anyone else. By the early 2000s, Chris and Michael had become surprisingly close friends. They bonded over humor, shared late-night conversations, and a mutual love for escaping the pressure of fame. Michael trusted Chris because Chris treated him like a regular person, not like a living legend. That trust led to some of the most memorable nights of Chris's life. One evening, Michael called Chris and said he wanted to do something simple, just go to the movies like normal people. Chris agreed, but Michael had a plan. He told Chris to go in first and save seats. Michael would sneak in right before the movie started. Chris sat in the dark theater, the lights already low, previews rolling. He kept looking around, wondering where his friend was. Then, from the shadows directly behind him, a soft voice whispered, "Hey, Chris." Chris jumped so hard he almost fell out of his chair. He whipped around and saw Michael Jackson standing there in complete ninja-style black clothing, hood up, face partially covered, moving silently like a shadow. Michael's eyes were sparkling with mischief. Chris's mouth dropped open. "Oh man, how long have you been here?" Michael smiled and whispered, "About 5 minutes." Security quietly brought them popcorn as if this was completely normal. Once the movie started, the real show began. Michael, the man known for electrifying billions, turned into the loudest person in the theater. He laughed out loud at every joke, gasped at every twist, and reacted with his whole body. Chris couldn't stop laughing. Here was the king of pop, trying his hardest to stay hidden, yet completely unable to contain his excitement. For those 2 hours, Michael got to be just a regular guy enjoying a film with his friend. But their adventures together went much deeper than one movie night. On another occasion, Chris invited Michael to church, hoping for a quiet, spiritual evening away from the spotlight. Before they left, Chris specifically warned him, "Mike, do not tell anybody we're coming." Michael promised he wouldn't say a word. They drove up in a car with dark windows. At first, everything was peaceful. Then Michael rolled his window down just a few inches. Within seconds, someone outside recognized him. The crowd exploded. People rushed the car, screaming his name, reaching through the window, grabbing at his clothes and arms. Chaos broke out instantly. Chris panicked and shouted, "Mike, roll the window up right now." Michael, however, stayed surprisingly calm, smiling gently as fans pulled at him. He seemed almost used to it, and maybe even a little amused. These specific moments reveal the complicated reality of Michael's life. Because he had been famous since he was a little boy in the Jackson 5, normal activities like going to the movies or attending church required secret planning and disguises. The ninja outfit wasn't just for fun. It was his way of trying to experience life without causing a riot. At the same time, these stories show how playful and trusting Michael could be with real friends. He loved surprising people he cared about, and he appreciated friends like Chris who made him feel normal and loved. Chris later shared that Michael was incredibly generous. If you complimented something in his house, whether it was a big flat-screen TV, a watch, or even a luxury car, Michael would often try to give it to you immediately. Their friendship gave Chris a window into the real Michael, a man full of childlike joy, humor, and a deep longing for simple human connection. Not only did Chris Tucker have wild adventures with Michael, Steve Harvey also has one of the most unforgettable stories. It happened during a difficult time in Michael's life when he was facing heavy legal pressure. Michael called Steve one day and said, "Steve, I need to go to church. Can you take me?" Steve agreed immediately. He told Michael, "Keep it quiet. Don't tell anyone." Steve picked him up at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. When he arrived, Michael greeted him riding a small moped right inside the hotel hallway. Steve, a tall man, looked at the tiny scooter and laughed. "Mike, how am I supposed to ride that?" Michael was dressed in an expensive, flashy designer suit, the kind that cost around $20,000, with shiny details that made him look like he was heading to a fashion show instead of Sunday service. Steve teased him, "Man, where are you going dressed like that?" "We're going to a black church." They got in the car and headed to First AME Church on Crenshaw in Los Angeles. Steve asked again, "Did you tell anybody we were coming?" Michael replied innocently, "No, I wanted it to be a secret." But as they turned onto Crenshaw, chaos erupted. Cars were lined up for blocks. Crowds of fans had already gathered. People had flown in from all over the world after word somehow leaked. The moment the car appeared, fans swarmed. They screamed Michael's name, pressed against the windows, and reached inside, grabbing at his clothes. Someone's hand even got caught in the window as it tried to close. Steve panicked and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Mike, roll the window up! Roll it up right now!" Michael, however, stayed surprisingly calm. He sat there with a gentle smile, almost peacefully watching the frenzy outside while fans pulled at his expensive jacket. Steve had to fight to get the window fully closed and protect both of them. After what felt like forever, with police help, they finally made it inside the packed church. The choir was singing powerful gospel songs. Michael sat in the middle section, his eyes lighting up. He rocked gently to the music, completely absorbed. He turned to Steve and whispered excitedly, "This is great, man. Listen to that choir." He loved every moment, the energy, the singing, the sense of community and prayer. That day showed a side of Michael many people never saw. Even in the middle of storms and rumors, he was a man searching for peace, faith, and normal spiritual connection. Steve later said Michael was a good person who was simply different, and stories like this prove how much he craved real, grounding experiences amid all the fame and chaos. Through these personal stories, we see beyond the tabloid rumors and headlines. Michael wasn't just the mysterious superstar the media portrayed. With Chris, he was a friend who laughed loudly in theaters, smiled through chaos, and treasured real moments of joy. These nights perfectly capture both the magic and the challenges of being Michael Jackson. But the chaos didn't stop with close friends. When other major celebrities and icons suddenly found themselves in Michael's presence, their reactions became even more extreme. Chapter 2. Celebs, Freezing, Crying, and Fanboying. Behind the larger-than-life aura of Michael Jackson was something even more powerful: the ability to turn the world's biggest superstars into nervous, starstruck fans in a single moment. Even people who had sold millions of records and walked red carpets for years completely lost their cool when Michael entered the room. Let's start with one of the most replayed moments in award show history. It was 1984, the height of Thriller mania. Michael was dominating the charts and the culture like no one before him. At the American Music Awards, singer Angela Bofill, a respected R&B artist with a powerful voice and her own string of hits, was chosen to present an award. She stepped onto the stage to hand Michael the trophy for Favorite Soul/R&B album for Thriller. The moment was already electric. The audience was cheering wildly. Michael walked up accepted the award with that signature graceful bow, and then, in a spontaneous gesture, leaned in and gave Angela a quick, gentle kiss on the cheek. For Angela, time seemed to stop. Her eyes widened. She gasped audibly, froze in place, and broke into a huge, overwhelmed smile. She looked like she had forgotten how to breathe. The camera caught every second of her reaction, the shock, the joy, the pure disbelief that Michael Jackson had just kissed her on stage in front of the entire world. That clip became legendary. Years later, people still talk about it as the perfect example of Michael's star power. Even fellow professional singers who had performed for decades couldn't stay composed around him. But that was just one public moment. Some of the most touching reactions happened in private. Fast forward to 2008 in Paris. Zac Efron was at the absolute peak of his fame thanks to the High School Musical movies. He was promoting the third film with director Kenny Ortega, the same Kenny Ortega who had choreographed Michael's major tours and was a longtime friend of the King of Pop. One day, Kenny received a call while they were together. He handed the phone to Zac and said casually, "It's for you." Zac took the phone. A soft voice on the other end said, "Hi, this is Michael Jackson." Zac's brain short-circuited. The 20-year-old star, who had grown up watching Michael's videos and dancing along to his songs, started rambling nervously. "Hi, this is Zac Efron. I'm a massive fan. I'm an actor, and you're like my hero." He was tripping over his words, heart pounding. Michael politely responded, "That's really nice," and then asked to speak to Kenny again. A few minutes later, the phone rang once more. It was Michael calling back. He had realized exactly who Zac was. "Oh, this is Zac from High School Musical? I love what you do. I'm a huge fan." Zac completely lost it. Tears started flowing. He was crying on the phone with his childhood idol. And here's the beautiful part. Michael got emotional too. The King of Pop, who rarely showed vulnerability in public, was moved by the young star's genuine admiration. They shared a heartfelt moment of mutual respect. Zac later described feeling dizzy and overwhelmed, saying it was one of the most surreal experiences of his life. Two generations of entertainers connecting across time, one at the end of his legendary career, the other just beginning his. Not every encounter was purely emotional. Some were hilariously awkward, especially in the early days. Take Mike Tyson. Before they became friends, the heavyweight boxing champion had a memorable first meeting with Michael. Tyson was backstage at an event, excited to meet the icon. He threw up a peace sign as a friendly greeting. Michael returned the peace sign, but then quickly put his hand down. Tyson, with his tough guy persona, immediately felt brushed off. In his mind, he thought, did he just play me? He felt hurt and even held a grudge for a while, later recounting the story with his signature humor and intensity on podcasts and in interviews. But that awkward beginning eventually turned into real friendship. Once Tyson got to know Michael better, he saw the gentle, playful person behind the superstar image. The peace sign mix-up became a funny story they could both laugh about later. Then there was Eddie Murphy, another comedy giant. At one awards show, Michael was accepting an honor and needed help adjusting his microphone stand. Without thinking, he turned to Eddie, who was right there, and said something like, "Eddie, can you pull this up for me?" Eddie, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood at the time, instinctively started helping, almost like an assistant. Later, Eddie joked about it on stage, imitating the moment and laughing at himself for automatically obeying Michael's request. I was like, "Yes, Mike," before I even realized what I was doing. These stories weren't limited to one or two people. A quick look across Hollywood shows a pattern. Beyoncé has spoken about her deep admiration for Michael. Other stars like Usher, Justin Timberlake, and countless others have described similar starstruck moments, freezing up, getting nervous, or becoming emotional when meeting him. Even established legends who had been in the industry for decades turned into wide-eyed fans. What made these reactions so powerful? It was more than fame. Michael carried an almost mythical presence. He had changed the world of music and dance. He had broken records that seemed impossible. And behind the sequins and moonwalk was a quiet, soft-spoken man whose genuine kindness often caught people off guard. When he gave someone his full attention, a compliment, a phone call, or even a simple kiss on the cheek, it felt like the ultimate validation. These encounters also reveal the strange pressure Michael lived with every day. He couldn't have normal conversations because people were too intimidated or too excited. Many celebrities later admitted they rehearsed what they would say if they ever met him, only to forget everything the moment he appeared. The aura was that strong. Yet underneath the shock and tears was something beautiful. Moments like the one with Zac Efron showed Michael's own vulnerability and appreciation for the next generation. He wasn't just receiving admiration, he was giving it back. He watched new talent, supported it, and made young artists feel seen. That mutual respect is what made these stories so human and touching. From Angela Bofill freezing on stage in 1984 to Zac Efron crying on the phone in Paris years later, to Mike Tyson's funny peace sign misunderstanding, these celebrity reactions paint a vivid picture. Michael Jackson didn't just perform for the world, he left an unforgettable mark on everyone who crossed his path, turning even the biggest stars into awestruck fans. And while these public and private moments were filled with shock and emotion, there was another side to Michael that only a few people got to experience fully: the playful prankster who loved making his friends laugh. Chapter 3: The Playful Prankster and Hidden Generosity. Behind the aura that made celebrities freeze and cry was a playful prankster who loved jokes, surprises, and light-hearted chaos with the people he trusted most. Michael Jackson wasn't just the serious king of pop the world saw on stage. In private, he had a mischievous, childlike sense of humor that could light up any room. One of the people who saw this side clearest was Siedah Garrett, the talented singer and songwriter who co-wrote Man in the Mirror and recorded the duet I Just Can't Stop Loving You with Michael. During recording sessions for the Bad album, Michael loved to mess with her and producer Quincy Jones in the most innocent but hilarious ways. Siedah remembers being deep in a serious conversation with Quincy in the studio when suddenly peanuts and cashews started flying past their heads. Michael was hiding nearby, tossing snacks at them like a kid in the back of a classroom, trying to make them laugh and break their concentration. Another time, while Siedah was recording her part for a love song, Michael stood right in front of her making funny faces the entire time. She would start cracking up, mess up the take, and Quincy would scold her, not knowing Michael was the real troublemaker behind it. Michael would just stand there with an innocent smile, pretending he had done nothing wrong. He also loved filming people when they least expected it. One day, Siedah walked into the studio to record and noticed Michael secretly filming her with a camera. She laughed and asked why. Michael just kept rolling. Those private, playful moments captured the real Michael, someone who enjoyed simple fun and making his collaborators feel comfortable enough to be themselves. Chris Tucker saw this prankster side too. Michael had a habit that always caught people off guard. If you genuinely complimented something he owned, he would try to give it to you right away. Chris once admired a big flat-screen TV in Michael's house. Without hesitation, Michael said, "You like it? Take it." Chris was shocked and tried to refuse, but Michael was serious. Another time, Chris joked about a Rolls Royce. Michael teased him back, "You really like it? Then you better go buy one, because I'm not giving you mine." Their friendship was filled with this kind of back-and-forth humor. Michael loved testing boundaries in a light-hearted way. These pranks and generous gestures weren't random. They came from a man who had been surrounded by people wanting things from him his whole life. By giving freely and playing jokes, Michael could tell who was around him for the right reasons. The people who stayed and laughed with him, like Chris Tucker and Siedah Garrett, became his real inner circle. Michael's love for animals also showed his playful personality. He had a famous chimpanzee named Bubbles who lived with him at Neverland. Bubbles even knew some sign language. Chris Tucker once visited and met Bubbles. Michael warned him to stay back from the cage because Bubbles could be moody. Stories like this, Michael caring for his private zoo, treating animals like family, added to the whimsical, almost fairy tale world he created at Neverland. He also fulfilled his own childhood dreams in creative ways. Since he could never go grocery shopping normally as a child star, friends once arranged a special night. They closed an entire supermarket and filled it with actors and staff pretending to be regular shoppers. Michael got to push a cart, pick out items, and experience something most people do every week. He later said it was one of the greatest nights of his life. That playful spirit, turning ordinary things into adventures, defined his private world. Even in public, small moments showed this side. At award shows, Michael would sometimes make funny comments or help create lighthearted chaos. He once joked during an interview when the host asked about turning 40, cleverly avoiding the question with a smile. He loved making people around him feel at ease, even when the spotlight was blinding. What makes these stories so touching is the contrast. The same man whose presence made superstars cry on the phone or freeze on stage was, in private, a gentle prankster who tossed peanuts, made silly faces, and gave away expensive gifts just to see people smile. He craved laughter and normal connection more than anything. Fame had taken so much from him, but it never took away his ability to find joy in small, silly moments with true friends. Through these behind-the-scenes glimpses, we see the full picture of Michael Jackson. The global icon who commanded the stage, the mysterious figure the tabloids loved to write about, and the warm, playful friend who just wanted to make people laugh and feel loved. The prankster side wasn't just entertainment. It was how he survived the pressure and built real bonds in a world that often treated him like he wasn't human. And yet, even with all the laughter and generosity, Michael carried deeper layers of loneliness and longing that only a few ever truly understood. Chapter 4. The Deeper Side, Loneliness and Humanity. After all the laughter, the pranks, and the starstruck celebrity moments, there remained a quieter, more fragile side of Michael Jackson that few people ever truly witnessed. Beneath the glitter, the moonwalk, and the unbreakable stage presence was a man who had been profoundly shaped and in many ways isolated by the very fame that made him a legend. Michael often said his childhood was stolen from him. While other kids played outside, rode bikes, and went to school, young Michael was rehearsing until midnight, performing on stage and traveling the world with the Jackson 5 under the strict, often harsh control of his father, Joe. He later confessed in private conversation that he would sometimes cry alone in his room, feeling incredibly lonely despite being surrounded by millions of fans. "I was looking for people to talk to," he once shared. "I was so lonely I would cry. I would walk down the street and ask people, 'Will you be my friend?'" That deep longing for real connection followed him into adulthood. Fame created an invisible wall. People either wanted something from him, money, clout, or a piece of his spotlight, or they became too nervous to act normal around him. The same man who could make Chris Tucker laugh until he cried often found himself eating meals alone or spending nights wandering the vast grounds of Neverland Ranch, searching for the simple friendships most people take for granted. Yet even in his loneliness, Michael showed remarkable empathy and humanity. During his History World Tour, one of the most emotional parts of every concert was the song, "You Are Not Alone." Michael would often invite a female fan from the audience onto the stage. He would hold her, slow dance with her, and let her feel truly seen for a few precious minutes. In one unforgettable moment in Munich in 1997, a fan broke through security and rushed onto the rising platform. Instead of panicking, Michael wrapped his arm around her tightly to keep her safe while continuing to sing high above the stage. He protected her until they safely descended. These weren't just performance tricks. They were genuine acts of kindness from someone who understood what it felt like to be overwhelmed by emotion. Another powerful example came during a concert in South Korea. A fan had climbed dangerously high on a crane just to get closer to Michael. As the platform rose during Earth Song, the fan reached out. Michael didn't hesitate. He grabbed the man and held him securely while still performing, preventing what could have been a tragic accident. In that moment, the superstar became a protector, showing the same care he wished he had received as a child. Michael also created his own world at Neverland Ranch to recapture the childhood he missed. The amusement park rides, movie theater, zoo, and endless gardens weren't just luxuries. They were his attempt to build a place where children, and his own inner child, could feel free and happy. He invited terminally ill kids and underprivileged families to visit, often covering all expenses and spending personal time with them. Many of those children later said Michael treated them with genuine warmth, playing games, watching movies, and making them feel special without any agenda. His generosity wasn't limited to grand gestures. Friends repeatedly spoke about how Michael would give away expensive items on a whim. He once told people close to him that he wanted to adopt children from every continent. He dreamed of a big, loving family that could heal the wounds of his own difficult upbringing. In quiet moments, he confided to trusted friends about wanting a normal life, marriage, children, grocery shopping without bodyguards, and simple evenings at home. These deeper stories help us understand the contradictions that defined Michael. The man whose presence made Zac Efron cry on the phone and Angela Bofill freeze on stage was the same man who cried with Zac in return. The prankster who tossed peanuts at Sita Garrett was the same person who felt crushing loneliness at night. The superstar who needed ninja disguises to see a movie was the same gentle soul who held a fan safely on a rising platform high above thousands of people. In his final years, despite health struggles and relentless media pressure, Michael still found ways to show his humanity. He continued creating music, mentoring young artists, and holding on to hope for a comeback that would let him perform for his children and fans one last time. His love for his 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, Biggie, was one of the purest joys in his life. He shielded them as much as possible and tried to give them the normal childhood experiences he never had. Michael Jackson wasn't perfect. No one is. But the full picture that emerges from these personal stories is not the caricature the tabloids sold. It is a complex, deeply human man who carried enormous talent and enormous pain. A man who turned superstars into nervous fans, who played pranks to make friends laugh, who protected strangers on stage, and who, above all, simply wanted to be loved and to love in return. The world never quite learned how to act normally around him, but in the stories from those who knew him best, we finally see the real Michael, the king of pop, the playful prankster, the lonely dreamer, and the compassionate soul who reminded us all that we are the world. Michael Jackson wasn't just the king of pop. He was a force that turned superstars into starstruck kids, a prankster who loved hard, a protector who held fans safely above the crowd, and a man who simply wanted real connection in a world that never quite learned how to act normal around him. From ninja movie nights and peanut pranks to tearful phone calls and quiet acts of kindness, these stories show us the full, beautiful, complicated humanity behind the legend. They remind us of his unmatched aura, his childlike joy, his deep loneliness, and his incredible capacity for love. Which story surprised you the most tonight? Was it the ninja whisper in the dark, the emotional moment with Zac Efron, or Michael protecting a fan high above the stage? Drop your favorite memory or thought in the comments below. I read every single one. If these hidden stories touched you, give this video a like, share it with fellow fans, and subscribe to Black Legend for more deep dives into the lives of music's greatest icons. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. As Michael himself sang so powerfully, we are the world, we are the children. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay magical, stay curious, and keep celebrating the legends who changed our lives. See you in the next video.